Again, with this new lesson, we're not going to add hardly anything new. We're going to take everything that we've learned before, and we're going to add one tiny little step to it. Remember that the key to solving these equations is that I want to get the variable alone on one side. That's what we've been doing this entire time, is trying to get the x all by itself. Okay? So I want to get my variable alone on one side and my numbers or my constants alone on the other side, so that I have an equation at the very end that says something like x equals 8. I've got a variable on one side and a number on the other, or m equals 12. So I need to do the same exact process that I've been doing right here. The only difference with this is that I've got an x hanging out over here by himself. He's on the wrong side of the equation. So how do I get this x off of this side and onto this side? Treat it just like you've been doing before. In order to get rid of an x, I need to subtract x. And our algebra mantra says, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And remember, we learned in lesson 10 I can only add or subtract like terms. So if I'm going to subtract an x, I can only subtract it from an x term right here. So bring everybody down. 4x minus x leaves me with 3x. I didn't do anything with this, so I just bring them straight down. And if I have an x and I take away an x, I'm left with 0. So now I've got the variable combined and on the correct side, but now I have this 6 stuck over here, and he's on the wrong side now. So I need to get him off of this side and onto this side. So in order to get rid of plus 6, I have to subtract 6. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that leaves me with 3x plus 6 minus 6 cancels itself out. 0 minus 6 leaves me with negative 6. So now I'm down to a very easy solve the equation problem. 3x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 3, and don't let those negative signs drop. You can't just magically drop them. You got to keep following them through. So then I'm back down to my solution of x equals negative 2. So now let's see if that works. Plop in negative 2 up here. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2, which is what I said the x was, negative 2. So yes, this equation does work. All right, let's try another problem. Notice I've got a b on this side of the equation, and I've got a b on this side of the equation. I've got a constant number here, and I have a constant number here. We typically like and comprehend better when we get our variables on the left side of the equation and our constants on the right side of the equation. So let's move this 5b and get him on this side. Now this is something that I've noticed that students struggle with. There's an invisible sign right here. It doesn't say positive or negative. So if there's an invisible sign right there, you assume he's positive. So in order to get rid of positive 5b, I need to subtract 5b. Remember, I can only add or subtract like terms, so that's why I'm not messing with these constant numbers here. So I'm left with 4b, bring down my negative 6, this canceled out to be 0, and I bring down my 18. So now I got to get this 6 off of this side. So in order to do that, I need to add 6 to both sides. So I bring down my 4b, this canceled out and gave me 0, and then just to save space, instead of writing it underneath over here, I just pulled it over here. 18 plus 6 is 24. So now we're down to a very simple solution. Divide both sides by 4, so that leaves me with b equals 6. So let's check that and make sure that works. Come back up here, substitute 6 everywhere you see a b, and see if it works. And indeed it does. We'll pick up with the rest of this lesson in part 2.